There's a lot of conversation about what's going right. I want to use this opportunity to talk about a couple of areas of concern. One is on rural consumption. I was reading the earnings reports of several of these FMCG companies which seem to suggest, depending on which company you look at least a 20 to 30% decline in rural consumption. A lot of left-leaning economists use this to suggest that there is a high level of rural distress. As finance minister, how do you look at this concern that in the rural sector, when it comes to consumption, a lot of companies are actually seeing distress? How much of a concern is that for you, and how are you hoping to address this?
I wouldn't just put them aside. I wouldn't say, no, I'm not worried about it. And I wouldn't say that their studies are worth nothing. No, not at all. I would certainly give it my best of attention. But I'm not sure it is that 20, 30% that you're talking about. FMCG companies do have metrics which we need to take seriously because it indicates quick buying of durable goods. But equally, it is not correct to say that rural distress is continuing, because I think there's a lot of shift in the way in which rural economy is now going through. There's a lot of shift because money is going in the name of one or the other scheme to every family in the rural area. I would dare say this, that there is no family left without getting at least one or the other scheme of the government. So those who deserve it. Rural economy is also looking at a changing paradigm in agriculture. A lot of commercial crops are coming in. The linkages through the national agricultural market. Even today there are media reports about how between different markets in different regions, better rate is actualized. So farmers are now seeing potential for them to move to different crops. The emphasis given to the shree and the millets, the emphasis given to horticulture is finding newer markets within their locality. The urban centers close by are benefiting by the horticulture reaching them locally and in reasonable price. So really it's no longer wheat and rice economy. It is a lot more of horticulture, fisheries, livestock is gaining a lot of attention, also supported by the policy of the government. SHGs which are now into value addition in food, and also with mechanization of agriculture, which is bringing the monotony down, not throwing people out. Themselves are becoming centers for business. Agriculture, let's say a farmer's son or daughter sets up a business for lending, leasing and hiring out equipments. Companies are coming into the villages saying, not all of them want tractors, but hoes, trying to de-weed. Every such small agricultural equipment is now finding traction, for which their sons and daughters themselves are setting up businesses. So there's a lot happening in rural areas.
Finance Minister, you gave a very interesting definition of secularism, and you linked it to saturation of the availability of all government schemes. Expand on that. Is that now the new definition that the Modi government is pushing out for secularism, because it's a word that has drawn a lot of debate in the past?
That's right. And not just in 24 elections, even in 2019, by which time Ujjwala had reached good dimensions. You had people belonging to different communities. Particularly when you talk of gas cylinders, only women come forward to talk about it. Men think it doesn't matter to them, because ultimately the food has reached the table. How does it matter whether it is being cooked in gas or anything else? So men tend to talk less about it. Women come out to say, yes, I'm benefiting with the gas cylinder. People who came out to say that Ujjwala has helped me to bring a clean air in my kitchen and I'm more efficient in getting my food done, belong to all communities. Even at that time, it was observed by media, observed by political observers, that Ujjwala scheme's implementation has proven that every eligible person gets it, not just the first charge going to one particular section, as it was narrated once earlier by a Prime Minister. So that litmus test of secularism actually in action has been felt even in 2019. Now it's felt even more. So if secularism has to be practiced, you don't need to pander to religious beliefs. If you're able to across the board give everybody everything, you are indifferent to the person's faith or religion, but making sure he or she is as good as the other next door. That's action, secularism in action.